Got a busy show here on Chicago Bears Now. I react to the Bears practice squad signings so far, plus some other interesting NFL roster news items out there regarding a couple of former Bears that I wanted to dive into, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's dive into the practice squad here. We'll kind of just go one by one here. Austin Reed, who has been a darling on Hard Knocks and, quite frankly, a player I thought played pretty well during the preseason as well. He comes back. I'm glad he's sticking around. I thought he displayed better arm strength and arm angles than I would have thought coming out of Western Kentucky. I'm not going to say he's got a howitzer, but he can go three-quarters sometimes and kind of flick his wrist and make some throws, and, you know, an okay athlete. So I'm glad he's back. I thought he showed enough to return, and as of now, Brett Rippon remains unsigned, so he could just be the third guy here, and Rippon could end up elsewhere. Collin Johnson also back. Really happy about this one because I still think there's a scenario where he helps this team at some point this year. We saw it last year when he played in a few games later in the season. They can use 3 practice squad call-ups per player on the practice squad, so in a pinch he could get called up. If there's an injury, you can activate him to the 53-man roster, so was happy to see that. He has a different skill set than most of the receivers in this league at 6'6", 220, so hopefully at some point he gets a chance, and he gets the chance to go out and perform. Stephen Carlson is back on the practice squad as Brendan Bates got claimed by the Jets. Who knows if they would have both come back. I'm sure Bates for sure would have, but Carlson is back, so he is your 4th tight end that can be elevated if needed. He's been here for a couple of years now, so certainly have no problem with that. Another Hard Knocks darling, Theo Benedet, the Canadian Eagle. If you've watched Hard Knocks, this guy has been an absolute character. You're deep on offensive line, so I don't think there's a real scenario for him to ever contribute on the actual team this year, but he gets to stick around. He's a vibes guy. He can develop as a rookie, so hey, I'm all about that. Him and Austin Reed have been fun to watch on Hard Knocks, and I think they've done some good things too, so good to see them rewarded for that and able to stick around here in Chicago. Lights, camera, action. What's been your favorite person to watch on Hard Knocks? Who's it been? If you had to pick one guy, that was tough. Ian Wheeler last night with the ACL tear. That was tough. And by the way, shout out Ryan Poles. What a good dude he is. Really cares about these guys. If you haven't seen the episode, I highly recommend go checking it out. But been a lot of fun to watch and get to learn more about these guys. Adrian Colbert's story was fun, and spoiler, he's not on the practice squad, so that's kind of a bummer. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been entertaining. One more episode to go. Curious to see who your favorite player to watch has been. All right, Jake Curhan, who was not a shocking cut, but some people thought he might make the 53, was not claimed, so he returns. And I think there's actual potential game day value here. If one of your tackles get banged up, he can get called up and play left or right tackle or be a swing tackle on a game day, so that's important. And that's big too because Curhan Amagaji, the rookie out of Yale, unclear if he's really going to be ready to contribute early on in the season if there is an injury. So to have a guy like this available while Larry Borom is on short-term IR, I think is very, very important. Byron Cowart, who Matt Eberflus mentioned as someone who had done a nice job, but I thought he would get cut once they traded for Chris Williams. He returns to the practice squad, so you got a veteran interior guy if you need to bring someone up on game day. Same with DaShaun Mallory, who returns to the practice squad as well. I thought Cowart had a better preseason, but Mallory did some good things. Jamree Kromah, I know, is a guy they liked and evaluated in the UDFA process. I didn't see him pop much in the preseason, but they must see some things that they like that they want to continue to develop here, so he's back in the fold. Really happy about this one. Baskerville, Micah Baskerville, who, quite frankly, I thought was worthy of making this 53-man roster, but the Bears calculated here and said, hey, let's keep Noah Sewell, let's cut Micah Baskerville, better chance he'll clear waivers and return, and they were right. Now, is that fair to Baskerville? I'm not sure. Maybe Sewell's a much better special teamer. If that's the case, I understand the decision, but I like Baskerville better, so I'm glad he's still in the fold, continue to develop, and who knows down the road. I mean, roster spots can open up in the future. He's just got to keep grinding, and hopefully he gets his chance at some point. Carl Jones Jr., another linebacker who did some good things in the preseason. Just a lot of depth, man. And Ryan Poles at his press conference just now said it was emotional on cutdown day because they had to make a lot of tough decisions. And certainly some of these practice squad guys were some of those tough decisions he had to make. A few more here. Reddy Steward, he's back, baby, after a very strong preseason. Had a couple of interceptions, including a pick six against the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought he was worthy of pushing for a roster spot. Got squeezed out because so many good corners are on this team. But he's back. He continues to develop, so that's exciting. Who's your favorite player on the Bears practice squad? For me, it's two. Micah Baskerville, Reddy Steward. Two guys I really like, two guys I'm glad are back in the fold. If you have a name of someone that you really enjoy on the practice squad, drop it down below. Torrence, another corner who Bears were like 10 deep at corner in the preseason. I was surprised he got the nod over Leon Jones, who I'm not sure if he's signed somewhere else yet, but they're opting to keep Torrence. Quindell Johnson, someone who was on the 53 last year, practice squad this year, again, speaks to the improvements of the roster and the depth of this team. He showed some special teams juice a year ago, so a guy that if you needed to call him up on game day certainly could fill the role. And then Tarvarius Moore. So I don't know if they chose Tarvarius Moore over Adrian Colbert or if Colbert's looking to sign with the team. I'm not sure as a vested veteran, but Moore is back on the practice squad. So that's 14 players. That leaves 2 slots for the 16-man player practice squad. And I still have a few questions as we go through these 2 news items that were reported earlier, but this is the list the Bears have tweeted. So as of now, there's 2 open spots from their transactional standpoint. Adam Schefter had this note earlier, which we discussed, that Packers wide receiver Samori Toure, former Packer receiver, is signing with the Bears, but the Bears have not announced that, so as of now, that's not the case. He also had this note that Patriots defensive lineman Sam Roberts is signing to the Bears practice squad with the intention of being called up for Week 1. And that one, if it happens, makes a little more sense to me because that would lead one to think that maybe Zach Pickens is out Week 1, so they need an extra defensive tackle. But as of now, that hasn't happened. And remember, Scott Daly, the long snapper who was reported to be signing with the Bears practice squad, the Bears didn't announce that one either. So are they going to cut one of these initial 14 guys and bring those 2 players that Schefter reported plus the long snapper? Or is Daly going to be on the 53 and they're going to cut a vet? There's something that still has to be tinkered here, clearly. But at this point in time, they've announced 14 guys, but 3 other guys have been heavily reported / rumored to be joining the Bears practice squad. 17's more than 16. Something's got to give. All right, get yourself a Caleb Williams jersey right now at chatsports.com/Caleb. We got plenty in stock for you guys to get yourself a jersey for the 2024 season. Bears football is 11 days away, so this is the time to get yourself one. Chatsports.com/Caleb. That link is in the comments and in the description of this video. All right, a couple of items that I thought you guys would be interested in. I certainly am interested in. Justin Fields, QB2 in Pittsburgh. They named Russell Wilson the starting quarterback today. And, you know, on my other YouTube channel, 4Verts, talked about this in detail if you want to go check that out. But I've really thought about this for a couple of weeks now. I think the Steelers are going to be a mess this year. I just don't like what's going on there. I think Russell Wilson is well over the hill. I'm rooting for Justin. I like Justin, but he's clearly flawed as a quarterback. And by the way, just sidebar, like if there was any question left at this point on if they should keep Justin and trade the number 1 pick or draft Caleb and move on from Justin, guys, he couldn't beat out Russell Wilson. Now, maybe they're just going with Wilson because he's a vet. Who knows? But, like, he clearly didn't definitively beat him out, right? Like, if he was dominant in the preseason, I think they would have started him. I think the Steelers, I think this is the first year they finally fall off. Like, Tomlin's never gone below 500. I think that thing is going to get ugly, and I think they will have a whole new QB situation next year, maybe a new head coach. In the division, a former Bear, Allen Robinson, who got cut by the Giants, and you're like, is he just done? Well, the Lions are bringing him into the practice squad, so that's somewhat notable. They also signed Tim Patrick to the practice squad and Donovan Peoples-Jones, so they're kind of loading up with some vets, maybe to see if one of them can emerge and join the 53, so that's certainly interesting to get A-Rod back in the division. Also talked about this on 4Verts, my NFL and college football channel. Like, he has fallen quickly as a player in the National Football League. But back in the division, maybe he makes some noise with Detroit, gets activated at some point, and hopefully doesn't play against the Bears and play well, because that would be demoralizing to say the least. All right, lots more to come. Some news coming out of practice today as well. By the way, just side note, Ryan Bates back at practice today. I think one more banged up player. Keenan Allen was on the bike, but Ryan Poles said it wasn't a big deal. Said he had a cleat issue last week, so he had some foot soreness, so nothing to be concerned about. Sounds like everybody, for the most part, is going to be ready to roll week one. Zach Pickens could be someone to follow there. Let me just double check on Pickens here as we're signing off here. Real quick, little Twitter search. Zach Pickens did not participate either. So that seems like the one to potentially monitor for week one, which is why the Sam Roberts note from Schefter earlier is a potential practice squad signing and elevation. So we'll keep an eye on that. More to come. Back live tomorrow like normal on Thursdays. We'll see you then.